All right, welcome back to another episode of Mr. King KMK. These are my Knick thoughts. I'll be coming to you at the end of every game, or at the very least the next day. All right, in the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. Trying to grow the channel. Definitely want to hear what you got to say. Let's move on. All right, last night's game against the Houston Rockets. We thought it would be an easy win. Not an easy win because those guys are young. Thought it would be a win that we could just put in the books, but things just kind of like went wrong for us down the stretch. Now, Houston came out hot, and you got to give them credit for that. They're on their home floor. They're young. They're vibrant. They get up and down the court. We expected that. Now, the part that I felt we could have done better was, down the stretch. But as far as our individual play, Cat had a pretty good game. He showed in places where his dominance is going to help us a lot this year. Certain spots we could have picked that we could have used him. He was the biggest guy on the court, and we could have took advantage of that, a little bit more. JB had a good game. He found his stroke. He's in his bag. He got his groove going, but also down the stretch, some decision making we're going to get to. Miles McBride and OG Anunoby. For some reason, I just paired the two together. They do similar things, be it that maybe, and I'm sorry, McBride. I'm sorry, I meant Miles, Mikal Bridges. But they both shoot well from three. They both can drive, and we know how they both have stellar defense. But somewhere in that middle, something wasn't clicking, quite the way that it should have been. And a team like Houston, who's young, who likes to get out and run, beat us on decision makings. So we can't have that. That game last night, it really came down to coaches and players. And the player standpoint, I have to put it on Jalen Brunson. Okay, he's our hero, but he's also our captain. He's our leader, and he's our floor general. So when it got down the stretch, we should have had better decision making when it got inside that 3 to 6 minutes where we had opportunity to take the lead and go ahead. And I think that some of the shot selection between Jalen Brunson and also the other point guard, which was Miles McBride, I think that should have been a little bit better. I think when we got it down to 1, then it went back to 3, then it ballooned back up to 6, 7. We got it back down to 3. I thought we came down at one point within that 3 minutes when Jalen had the ball, that was an opportunity to go to what we knew would work. And if it wasn't going to be pinned Cat low on the block, and I mean low on the block because he had a height advantage over a lot of people in that game. And he was playing rugged. Or it could have been bringing Mikal Bridges off of a curl for a nice, wide open look, something in his bag, in his rhythm. Even OG, redirecting the ball, sending him to the corner because we know that corner 3 is his. So it's just like little things that we should have done between coach and point guard that could have really easily put us over the hump. And in the fourth quarter, I wasn't even worried because I thought, okay, they doing what they got to do. We the comeback kings, so we're going to make our run, and then we're going to get back in the game. And then I just wish I had video up to be able to show those certain instances I'm talking about where we could have gotten a better shot to take the lead. And once we would have grabbed the lead, then that would have been it. Now a young team is hard to play catch up in the closing minutes of the game. And then we got to give it up to their center who was just dominating. And it's a semi-dominate because Cat was in foul trouble, and then you can't really guard him the way you really need to guard him. So we give him kudos for being able to get the buckets to keep them in the game down the stretch. Green, he was putting up his deep threes. Those are not automatic when you hoisting up like that. But it was the center who killed us. But it wasn't a real kill because we couldn't guard him the way we needed to guard him. And that's a game where pressures would have really helped us because the weak side helped. And also he could have stayed with that guy man for man. He'd have probably been a little more active on the defensive end, making it tougher to get that little semi-hook shot off. So Houston, they beat us, and we give them that. And so we say a work in progress, and we got things that we're going to have to work on. And that decision-making down the stretch is going to be one of them. And I said the other day, we are not going to be able to just be lackadaisical and think we're just going to walk in and beat teams. We're not built that way. We built for the grime and the grit. At times it does look pretty, but that's who we are. And we have to find a way to keep ourselves motivated. And if we're motivated, nobody's really going to be able to beat us because we have that much force and that much energy. But we just can't walk out there thinking that, okay, it's a certain team that's not expected to be there down the end of the season, and we just got an easy win. The NBA just don't go like that. Not for us. All right, we got to get after it. We just got to get dirty. All right, so let's just move on to some other news. That game is over. Got Atlanta on Wednesday. Let's just take it from there. So there's talk about Antetokounmpo, and I've been watching a lot of these shows. I don't try to watch them all the way through because sometimes the speculation just gets to you. But and it's just talking about how maybe we had a chance to get him or can get him, and I heard Stephen A. Smith talking about if we picked up Mikal Bridges, and that hindered us from putting together that type of a super team, then he was going to be upset. But I don't think from further what I was reading, I think it was more the cat trade. I think once you made the cat trade, knocked you out of the running for Antetokounmpo. Now the Greek Freak is a nice piece. I don't necessarily think we have to have that piece to win a championship with the way that our team is constructed. If you're going to have the Greek Freak on your team, you got to surround him with real 3-point shooters. And then what does that do for Jalen Brunson? Because JB needs the ball and the Greek Freak would need the ball. So how much of a super team are you going to have if you're just playing my turn, your turn? We see that don't work unless the two people have real chemistry. And if it don't work with Dame Lillard, who is a shooter, but he has to have the ball, how is it supposed to work with us? Now, nobody would try to turn down an opportunity to get the Greek Freak, but there's no need at this point to gut your team for older players. We building something special here, and we need to just stay with that. And on that same note, with Precious coming back, that's going to alleviate a lot of the stuff up front for us. And then also with Matt Ryan, and coming in now, we were able to sign him. That 3-point shooting is also going to help us, tremendously as far as keeping our floor spreaded and then getting them untimely buckets, from downtown that we're going to need. Now the Knicks also took Ariel Hawkporty's contract and turned it into a regular 2-year deal. So that's going to help them with the other deals coming down the pipe that we need also in keeping Shamet, things like that. So, I mean, we on the right track with what we got to do for this season. But one thing we can't do, and we can't panic, now that's for one, and I know I sound like that a little bit myself. We can't panic, but we have to put away teams that don't have no business being there. Okay, the NBA teams, they got solid players on their team, but we got to put them away, especially down the stretch. That's just something that's a makeup that we have to do. Now, going into last night's game, which is kind of a silver lining, we had the same record 2-3 that we had last year at this time. All right, so there's no reason the house is not on fire, but at the same time, let's just let teams know that we here to stay. Last year was not a fluke. We brought in more players, we brought in more chemistry players, and it's gelling. It's getting there. We just have to, as a team, dig into where our real buckets are going to come from in certain times. And we got 5 guys on that court that can score. So all 5 guys should have their number just waiting in their pocket to be called when we need it. And we have to do that. Tibbs, you got to do a better job. It's great to have all-star players, but sometimes a coach has to take the game by the reins. And you got 7, 8 coaches over there. So somebody got to see something, that we're not seeing watching on TV or even the players not seeing. And then we just got to make the right read, make the right call, and then at the end, make the right play. And we're going to be fine. All right, so let me hear what y'all think. Let me hear what y'all think about last night's game. Let me hear what you think about the Greek Freak. If there was an opportunity to get him on our team, how would that fit? And then also with shooters like Matt Ryan coming in, how does that help us? Let me hear your thoughts. Till next time, peace.